Thank you for joining us. Interviews for the position of Chief Justice began today, with High Court Judge Said Chitembwe being the first one before the recruitment panel. And a past ruling in which Chitembwe released a previously convicted defilement suspect came back to haunt him as the Judicial Service Commission put him to task over his legal and professional competence for the top judiciary job. KTN senior political reporter Murimi Mwangi begins our broadcast tonight.
Day one of the physical interviews to pick retired Chief Justice David Maraga's successor. And first on the Judicial Service Commission's hot seat was High Court Judge Said Juma Chitembwe.
If I'm to be appointed as the CJ, I'm not saying that I will dig a new foundation. I will build on what others have done with the sole purpose of improving the institution.
A March 2016 ruling at the High Court in which Chitembwe freed a man accused of defiling a minor came back to haunt the judge. At the time of the said defilement, the girl was aged 17, an act for which a Kilifi Principal Magistrate Court jailed the man for 20 years. But the suspect, in an appeal before Justice Chitembwe, told the court that the girl, though a minor, had always carried herself as an adult and would in fact frequently visit his house, even in the presence of his siblings. Chitembwe released the suspect, ruling that he was not entirely to blame.
If you go back, the complainant, I will be very honest, the proceedings before the magistrate court, that complainant said, I went to this man's house to have sex and I go home. That's what that lady said.
What I'm asking basically is, when you find that there's conflict between what you feel or what the beliefs you hold as a person and the law, how do you treat that scenario?
On reflection, I think I did my best to deal with the case at hand. And I can tell you for sure, despite all these olabalus, the number of magistrates who have called me to say you have freed us from these shackles of Sexual Offences Act.
Before joining the judiciary, Chitembwe, then as the National Social Security Fund Corporation Secretary, had been arrested, charged and acquitted for the offence of abuse of office in 2008 over alleged misinformation of the NSSF board to make payments of over 8 million shillings on a contentious property. The judge getting emotional over memories of his ordeal on the wrong side of the law.
People have to be prosecuted. That is the mandate of the DPP. But as you sit as a judicial officer, you should be able to sift out what has been brought for serving other purposes and what has been genuinely brought as a court case.
In what instances, if you were Chief Justice and the head of that court, in what instances would you encourage your colleagues in that court to exercise this activism?
That activism is necessary to solve a problem, because the activism is not generated within. It's the law, is the cases which are filed there, which needs interpretation.
As the chairperson of the commission and also head of judiciary, do you see any place for strategic engagement, both the formal and informal?
There will be the formal appointments. You go there, you meet the president. I believe the president also would like to meet the judiciary, because it's also, if the judiciary is not working, businessmen, money is held in the courts. He is also feeling it. So he would also want to see the problems of the judiciary.
With a strict focus on legal track record, life experiences and administrative competence, the Maraga Succession race edges closer to the finish line, with Professor Kamori Mbote next on the grilling line. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.